Alrighty guys, this is Payne from Vanguard Fight Club again with a Narukami deck profile for Dragonic Vanquisher. So I know this is kind of overdone, but this is a deck that I got. Narukami was my first clan, so I have a really special place for it. And we were talking and I was like, well, I'd like to do a deck profile for it. So we're going to go ahead and hop into it. So for Dragonic Vanquisher, the meat and potatoes of the deck. So during your turn, if 3 or more cards were bound in either player's bind zone, your front row gets 10k. And Counterblast 1, bind an opponent's front row. And if you have a grade 3 in Soul, you can bind a card from both of your hands as well. Generally, you would just read that and think it doesn't sound super great on paper, but this card's actually insane. It's why it's the best deck right now, at least on the English format. So there's that, and it combos really well with binding stuff from hand, because there's stuff later on in the deck that deal with that. So for Jaggy Shot Dragoon, this is the card that makes this deck insane in my opinion. So it just opens up the multi-attacking factors like nothing else really can, and it just pluses you. So when it attacks, you can bind a card from hand and bind an opponent's front row. And then at the end of the battle it attacked, if your opponent has no front row, push it in Soul and draw a card. So it both fuels the Soul of grade 3s for Vanquisher, draws you card, opens up the multi-attacking like how I mentioned beforehand. So for Demonic Dragon Berserker Chatura, so this card is the GOAT. Those of you who played Vanguard before the reboot know how good this card was.
Stupid.
Yeah, so when the attack hits a Vanguard Soul Blast 1, draw a card and bind something in their front row. So almost the exact same as the old Chatura. So super good on hit pressure. And when it's bound from hand, you can call it and it gets 10k. So this is kind of what I mean by it doesn't really matter if you bind cards from your hand. There's one other card later on that does that, but it just doesn't matter because you mostly get it back if you draw into it, of course. For Supreme Army Eradicator Zuiten, so whenever something is bound, I believe from the field, just during your turn, never mind. This and a Gauntlet Buster get +5, but this deck doesn't play Gauntlet Buster, at least my rendition of it doesn't. So you would just give him 5k. And at the end of the battle he attacked, if your opponent has no front row, push him to Soul and draw a card. More drawing, that's the main reason I play him. And 2 Cho-Oh, Fiendish Sword Eradicator. So I would play this as 4 if I was able to, but unfortunately because of the ban restriction on him, you can't. But it's when he's placed, you can Counterblast 1, choose a column, bind the front row, and push up the back row. And at the end of the battle, it attacked, or your Vanguard attacked, excuse me. If your opponent's front row has no rear guards, you can Counterblast 1 and stand him. So again, more multi-attacking. It swings 19-24 on an XL2 consistently because of Vanquisher, so just restanding that is great. So that's why you play him. 2 Voltage Horn Dragon. These would be Cho-Ohs if they were able to be. So during the turn, during your turn, if any player's card was bound, +5, and when it attacks, Counterblast 1, choose a column, bind the front row, push up the back row to an open rear guard in the same column. So effectively, it's kind of the same as Cho-Oh, it's just when it attacks instead of when placed. But it doesn't have the restand, which is why it's not as good as Cho-Oh. But it's a good placeholder for the time being.
RIP Cho-Oh.
RIP. And then another tech, 1 Voltic Shredder Dragon. I know this isn't, I guess it's not really considered a tech because a lot of decks do play it. It's kind of hard for me to find a room for more than one. But it's when it attacks, if your Vanguard is Vanquisher, Soul Blast 1, draw a card, and bind a card from hand. So this also opens up the multi-attacking with Chatura and then a grade 1 later on. Then moving on to grade 1s, for Mighty Bolt Dragoon. If something was bound this turn, +5, and grade 3 search, check top 5, add a grade 3, discard card. So it's grade 3 searcher when you need a specific grade 3 to win. So it's just really good because of that. For Rising Phoenix, another MVP of the deck. So drop zone, when something is bound, you can call him and it gets 3k. So just good. It's free. It's, it just is. This also opens up multi-attacking as well. So just really cool. Really good card.
Don't play it, you're bad.
Yeah. 4 Desert Gunner Bajan, I believe is how you say his name. This is the other multi-attacking card. So when it's bound from hand, you can call it to rear guard, and when placed, if either player card was bound this turn, you soul charge 1. So the soul charge doesn't matter a whole lot, but just being able to call him out is what's really good. So that's grade 1s. Trigger lineup, we play 4 draw PG, 4 gold, 4 regular draws, 4 crits, 4 heal, and Spark Kid Dragoon. Hopefully this will be replaced with Linshu later, but I guess we'll find out. So that is my Narukami Dragonic Vanquisher deck profile. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.